Hello, my name is Airman First Class Brian Ellingsen with the Band of the West. And in these crazy times, I'm sure a lot of you young musicians out there are being faced with canceled end-of-year concerts, or maybe you're not able to get to school and receive instruction from your band or orchestra teacher. So we at the Band of the West thought it would be a really fun idea to put together an online virtual lesson series. So that's what I'm here doing today. And if you are a violinist or a violist or a cellist or a bass player, I've put together some exercises that we can all do. I'm a bass player, that's what I do, but we all use our bow, and I put together a couple of exercises that I think will really help our bow arm, focusing on bow speed and bow control, as well as string crossing. So get out your instrument and rosin up your bow, and let's have some fun. Okay, so the first exercise we're going to look at is an exercise called long tones. Now, the goal of this exercise is to work on really nice, smooth bow speed when we are using the entire bow. We're going to use the entire bow all the way from the frog, all the way to the tip, and the goal is to make sure we are using a nice, even speed of bow. We're looking at the bow speed. Also, I really encourage all of you to do this exercise in a mirror, because I'm looking at my phone right now and I can see that my bow is straight. My bow is more or less in line and parallel with the bridge. What we don't want to see is like this, or like this, or like that. We want a nice, straight, even bow. So the way that we go about this exercise is I'm going to put my metronome at 60 to the quarter note, and I'm going to start off playing 4 beats to a bar. So I'm going to go from frog to tip using the entire bow over the course of 4 beats, and tip to frog over the course of 4 beats. And it looks something like this. It seems pretty easy. But what I'm thinking about in this exercise is making sure that the bow speed is even. What we don't want is something like this. What happens there is that our bow is, what I just did in that example was our bow is too slow in the beginning, and then we have to speed up so we can get to the tip. Or vice versa. The bow is too slow at the beginning, we have to speed up so that we use the entire bow. So what I like to think about doing is whether we're doing 4 beats to a bow, or if we go to 6 beats to a bow, or 8 beats to a bow, we're gradually going to have to see a slower bow. But for now, let's just try it 4 beats to a bow. And if we're going to do 4 beats to a bow, beat 1 should be at the frog, beat 2 should be in the middle of the bow, and beat 4 should be all the way at the tip. So kind of keep that in mind as we do the exercise. And whether you're playing violin or viola or cello or bass, we all have a D string. So let's do this exercise with a D string. But you could do it on all strings individually if you like. But for right now, let's start off on the D string, doing 4 beats to a bow. Ready? And. Think about the bow speed. Great. So now let's try to bump it up to 6 beats per bow. Now what you're going to experience here is that you're going to need a little bit more control because the bow is going to be moving slower. It's going to be moving at a slower speed. But just because it's moving at a slower speed doesn't mean that the speed shouldn't be consistent. So let's try that together. So 6 beats per bow. So about beat 1, you should be at the frog. By beat 3, you should be in the middle of the bow. And by beat 6, you should be at the tip. Let's try it together on the D string. Ready? And. So as you get more and more comfortable with the bow speed and looking in a mirror or your phone to making sure that your bow is nice and straight, you can start to add 8 beats to a bow or 10 beats to a bow. And the more and more you increase the beats to the bow, the slower the bow will be, and the more we have to focus on our bow control and really feeling the bow way into the string from the shoulder. That's also very important. So that's long tones. I encourage you to give it a try on all 4 strings. Give it a try and have fun. Okay, so the next exercise we're going to look at deals with string crossing. Now, just like we looked at long tones, keeping a nice, smooth, consistent bow speed, we're going to add one extra layer to that, which is string crossing. Now, the whole objective of this exercise is to make sure our string crossings are nice and smooth, and we're not using any additional motion that we don't need. For example, if you can see my 2 fingers, if they kind of represent 2 strings, what I want is to, while I'm playing one string, the bow is ever so slightly inching towards the next string that I want to cross to, so that I'm preparing for that string crossing. We want to prepare for the string crossing so we have a nice smooth string crossing. What we don't want is an unprepared string crossing where the bow is far out here, and then to cross, whoop, we just used way too much movement. We want a nice, smooth, steady rocking motion. We don't want to rock like this and we're going to tip the boat over. So I would like to start string crossing on our lowest 2 strings. In my case, it would be the E string and the A string. It'll be different for different instruments, whether you play viola or cello, etc. But we're going to start string cross between 2 strings, our lowest 2. Then through the exercise, we're going to add a 3rd string, crossing between 3 strings, and then eventually we'll finish the exercise crossing all 4 strings. Now, just like long tones, I like to do this on 60 beats to the quarter note. So we're going to think about a bar 4/4 at 60, crossing between the E and the A, and we're going to start quarter notes. So my E and A, or if you have a different instrument, the note names are going to be different, but the goal is here, it's about the right hand. So we're going to do quarter notes first, crossing between the lowest 2 strings. I'm really thinking about preparing the string crossing, making it as smooth as possible. Then we'll add 8th notes. A little faster. Still thinking smooth, then 16ths. So that's how that goes. So I invite you to try that with me now. I'm going to start in quarters, and then we're going to move to 8th notes, and then we're going to move to 16ths. And the whole goal of this is to, as we're crossing the strings, we're keeping the motion that we cross as little as possible. We don't want boo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. No, we want doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Nice and smooth and concise. So let's try it together. Ready? And quarters. Move to 8ths. Nice and steady. Keep in mind our bow speed, just like long tones. 16ths now. Good. So as you get more comfortable with that exercise, try adding another string. So now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to move from quarters to 8ths to 16ths, but we're going to cross between 3 strings now, our lower 3 strings. So starting in quarters, ready, and. Always preparing the string crossing. Not using any movement that we don't need, nice and smooth. 16s. Good. So as you do this exercise, the more and more comfortable you get, I really just encourage you to, just like we looked in the mirror with long tones like that, really look down at your bow. Look down at your bow to make sure you are really minimizing the amount of motion that the bow has to rock between strings. So building upon that, the more and more comfortable you get, you can add 4 strings. And when I do this exercise, when I do it on 4 strings, it's a little bit different rhythmically. We're going to repeat the top note. We're going to repeat the top string when we do quarters, and then we're going to tie in the top note and the bottom note when we proceed through to 8th notes and 16th notes. You'll see what I mean as we do the exercise. So 4 strings now, starting out in quarters. Ready? And. Now 8ths. So what we're really doing there is we're getting more and more comfortable as we string cross to build upon that and cross to all 4 strings. Start off with 2 strings. It could be your middle 2, it could be your top 2, bottom 2, and then add 1 more string. And all the while really making sure you're keeping an eye on that. You know, like I said, we want to rock the boat smoothly. We don't want to rock the boat like that because we'll all go overboard. So I encourage you to practice that and rewatch the video if you want and practice a few more times. And string crossing, it's fun. Okay, so thanks for joining me. I hope these exercises really help a lot of you out. I know they help me out. I've been doing exercises like these since I was in grade school, and I still do them now, and they're really, really helpful for our bow arm. And don't forget to like and follow and subscribe the Band of the West on all social media outlets. We're going to have more lessons like this coming to you soon. So happy practicing and take care.